Most cat owners will never know if they are doing it right. Not because the information does not exist, but because cats do not tell you the way a dog tells you. They do not bound toward you with visible, uncomplicated joy that makes the verdict obvious. They do not perform their contentment loudly. They do not make it easy to know, but they do tell you, every single day, in a language that most owners spend an entire lifetime beside their cat without ever learning to read. It is quiet. It is specific. And it is, once you know what to look for, completely unmistakable. There are things your cat only does with a great owner. Not a perfect owner. Not an owner who never makes mistakes or always does everything right. A great owner. The kind who, over the accumulated weight of ordinary days, has given their cat something that most cats in most homes never fully receive. And if your cat is doing these things, they have already told you what you are to them. You just did not know how to hear it. Let us talk about what is really happening. 1. They make eye contact with you and then look away first. In most species, eye contact is about dominance. Who holds the gaze longer wins something. Who looks away first concedes something. It is a primal negotiation conducted in fractions of a second, and the rules of it run deep. Cats understand this deeply. Sustained direct eye contact in the feline behavioral vocabulary is a challenge. It is what cats do before a fight. It is what a predator does before it closes the distance. A cat who stares without breaking, whether at another cat, at a stranger, at a perceived threat, is a cat communicating readiness. Held gaze means something between us is not resolved, which means a cat who makes soft, brief eye contact with you and then calmly looks away first is doing something remarkable. They are not being indifferent. They are performing an act of voluntary deference toward the one being in their world they have decided does not need to be monitored. They are communicating, in the precise language of the species that invented staring as a threat, that you are not a threat. That the interaction between you does not require vigilance. That you are safe enough to look away from. Researchers at the University of Sussex confirmed that the slow blink, the deliberate closing and reopening of the eyes that often accompanies this soft look away, is a bidirectional trust signal that occurs most frequently between cats and their most bonded human. But even before the slow blink, the look away itself is the signal. The voluntary release of the gaze. The body saying, I know you will not use the moment when I stop watching. A great owner is one their cat can look away from without calculation. 2. They bring their whole body when they come to you. Watch how your cat approaches you. Not when you have called them, not when food is involved, but in an ordinary, unremarkable moment. You sit down. They notice, and they decide to come over. A cat approaching someone their nervous system has not fully resolved carries a particular quality of movement. The body is compact. The steps are measured. There is a held quality to the muscles, a readiness contained within the approach that is not quite ease. A cat approaching a great owner moves completely differently. The rear end is involved. The tail is up or curving. The steps are loose and almost bouncy in the particular way of a body that has switched off its monitoring system entirely. Animal behaviorists call this loose body language. It is the physical signature of a nervous system operating without alert. Every muscle saying simultaneously, there is no threat here. There is no reason to be ready. This person has never given me a reason to be ready. Dogs do this for almost everyone they know. Cats do not. 4. They sleep in a position that makes them vulnerable near you. Every sleeping position a cat can adopt exists on a spectrum from maximum protection to maximum vulnerability. The tight curl, nose to tail, belly hidden, every soft surface protected. The loaf, paws tucked, monitoring maintained at a low level even in rest. The sprawl, belly exposed, legs extended, every defensive reflex switched off. The position a cat chooses when they sleep near you is the most honest thing they will ever tell you about how safe you make them feel. Because sleep is not a decision. Sleep is what the body does when the threat assessment concludes that the environment can be trusted completely. A cat cannot choose to feel safe. They can only choose whether to stay in a place where safety is possible, and then their body does the rest. A cat who sprawls belly up near a great owner has not chosen to trust them. They have simply stopped being unable to. Months and years of accumulated experience with this person have built a record in the nervous system so consistent, so reliably positive, that the threat assessment now resolves automatically. No effort, no decision, just the body, at its most unguarded, finally allowed to rest. If your cat lies belly up near you, or curled loosely with their face exposed, or pressed against your side in sleep without the compact tension of held alertness, they are testifying, in the most biological language available to them, to the safety you have given them. Not in one moment. Over every quiet, ordinary moment you have shared. 5. They come to you when they are scared, not away from you. This is the one that separates good owners from great ones. And most people never stop to think about it. When something frightens your cat, a sudden noise, an unfamiliar person, something in the environment that their nervous system flags as uncertain, what do? Where do they go? A cat who runs from a fear stimulus and hides is a cat whose nervous system has not identified any person in the environment as a safe base. The room is the threat. The entire space feels uncertain. And the response is to get small and invisible and wait for the threat to resolve on its own. A cat who, when frightened, moves toward a specific person and seeks proximity to them, is a cat who has learned something through long, accumulated experience that most cats in most households never learn. That there is a being in this space whose presence makes the threat feel smaller, whose body near them is a kind of answer to the question their nervous system is asking. Research into cat attachment behavior at Oregon State University documented exactly this pattern. Cats with secure attachment to their person use them as a safe base during stressful or unfamiliar situations. They approach their person when distressed. They regulated faster in their person's presence. They showed lower cortisol, lower stress responses, and more exploratory behavior when their bonded person was present compared to when they were absent or replaced by a stranger. The cat who comes to you when the world is uncertain has decided, after careful observation across the full length of your relationship, that you are the answer to uncertainty. That is not a small decision. That is the deepest form of trust a domestic cat is capable of giving. 6. They monitor you without being obvious about it. A great owner's cat knows where you are at all times. But they do not hover. They do not pace or vocalize or demand your constant attention. They simply maintain a quiet, peripheral awareness of your location that surfaces occasionally as a brief glance, a soft reorientation in your direction, a slight adjustment in their position when you shift yours. Behavioral scientists call this social referencing. It was first documented in human infants, who glance back at their caregiver during exploration not because they need anything, but because the caregiver's continued presence is what makes exploration feel safe enough to continue. Remove the caregiver and the child stops exploring. The anchor is gone. Your cat does the same thing. The brief glance from across the room, the soft check-in when you move, the particular quality of attention they pay to the sound of you moving through the house. This is not anxiety. A cat who is anxious about separation shows different signals: excessive vocalization, destructive behavior, inability to settle. What this is the natural monitoring behavior of a being who has organized part of their sense of security around your presence. You are the anchor, and they are, gently, keeping track of the anchor. A great owner is the kind of person their cat can keep track of quietly, without urgency, because the track record says you will be there when they look. 7. They come back to you after you have made a mistake. This is perhaps the most important sign of all, and the one most owners never think to look for. Every owner makes mistakes. A picked-up cat who was not ready. A sound that was too loud. A moment of frustration that changed the energy in the room. An interaction that went too long. Cats notice all of it. Their nervous systems register it. And a less secure cat will carry the weight of a single negative experience for a disproportionately long time. But a cat who lives with a great owner has something that buffers those moments. They have a body of evidence so large, so consistent, so overwhelmingly positive that a single negative experience cannot overturn it. The file is full of good entries. One difficult entry does not change the conclusion the file has already reached. And so they come back. After the moment that went wrong, after the interaction that ended too abruptly, after the energy in the room that was not what it usually is, they come back. They settle near you again. They slow blink in your direction. They bring their whole body when they cross the room. Because the record you have built with them is the truth they return to. Not the mistake. The record. And a great owner is someone whose record is so long and so consistent that it has become, for their cat, the definition of safe. If you watch this and recognized your cat in these signs, the look away, the loose approach, the sprawl near you in sleep, The movement toward you when the world feels uncertain, that recognition is not you projecting. That is your cat, finally seen clearly. You did not do this in one day. You did not do it with a single grand gesture or a particular act of love that you can point to and say, that is when it changed. You did it the way cats understand everything. Slowly, consistently, in the quiet, accumulated texture of ordinary days that asked nothing dramatic of either of you. Every video on this channel begins the same way, with a question most cat owners have never stopped to ask. And then we go looking for the real answer. Not the simplified version, not the comfortable assumption, the actual science, the studies, the behavioral research that takes years to surface and rarely reaches people in a way that feels like a real conversation. That is what we do here every single time. If this video gave you something, hit like, drop a comment, and tell us which sign your cat shows. And subscribe, because what we are covering next will change the way you see your cat all over again. The more you understand them, the closer you get to something most people spend a lifetime living beside and never fully seeing. And that is always worth staying for.